Hey, this is Ken Finnan at Capital Advantage Tutoring. And what I'm trying to do is help you pass the SAE exam, the Series 7, and all the finra exams. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take a final. I'm going to take a final from one of the vendors. The vendor I think is the best one out there so far. The other ones you can still pass, but this is the best one, I think, for the Series 7, okay? So if you like these questions and you like what I'm doing and you think it's going to help you, go into the details, hit the little link, and buy. Helps me out, helps you out, you get a little discount. Not the worst idea in the world. So let's go and let's hope I don't make a freaking fool of myself. Okay, so let's get started on question number 1. A registered rep is looking to sell a client Class B shares with a 7-year contingent deferred sales charge, CDSC. Which of the following representations is appropriate? These shares will outperform Class A shares because you don't have to pay a sales charge. I don't think that makes sense. These shares are like no load as long as you hold them 7 years. That doesn't make sense either. These are the best type of shares to buy. I don't think you can ever freaking say that. And all of your money goes to work since there's no upfront sales charge. Okay, so that might be the answer because Class A you pay up front, Class B you pay on the back end, and Class C you pay a level load and the 12B on fees. Okay, so let's go with D and see if I'm not a total idiot. Boom, that's number 1. Okay, let's get through like 30 or 40 of these babies without boring the hell out of you. Which of the following terms relates to the graph that is used to determine optimal portfolios resulting from a comparison of risk and reward? So we always know that risk reward is like cap M, and we're trying to find out what is the perfect ratio of risk and reward. So you're getting a good rate. Duration, nah, that's volatility. Alpha, well, okay, maybe we'll come back to that. The alpha is what you do above what you're expected. So like if you have a beta of 1.5 and the market goes up 10, you should do 15, 1.5 times 10. But if you actually do 17, you did better than expected. So you get 2 points of alpha. That's not it. Okay, the yield curve. The yield curve is more about comparing treasuries, looking for widening or narrowing. So let's go with the efficient frontier. I'm going to go with that. The efficient frontier should be basically where you have the most reward with the perfect least amount of risk. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. 2 for 2. Let's go. Let's see if we can keep this up. Number trace. A REIT is not a REIT, however you want to say it. A REIT is not used for a tax shelter because it does not. Okay. Allow for flow through losses. We'll come back to that. Provide limited liability. Yes, it does do that because you can only lose what you put in. Income potential. Yeah, that's real estate. You get income. And allow flow through of income. Yeah, that's called a freaking dividend. So we're going to go with allow flow through of losses. You cannot do that. What real estate thing does allow for flow through of losses? That would be a real estate limited partnership, also known as a RELP. So let's try that one. Let's see if we're good. That's 3 down, 3 for 3. I'm going to lose one. Okay. A Muni Bond trader does not. Okay. Does it accept bids? I would think so. Commit to underwritings? I don't know. Let's come back to that. Negotiate settlement dates in the secondary market? I disagree with that, but it is true. Like say I want to buy a bond and I want to say, no, I want to settle in 3 days or 1 day. We could probably do that. Or request bids. I do. I ask for bids. I want to sell a bond. I request a bid. So I'm going to say they don't do underwriting because that's more for underwriters. Let's see if we get this right or I read it wrong. Boom. A Muni Bond trader does not commit to underwritings because that would be an underwriter. Numero 5. The firm's suitability responsibilities for sales of variable annuities do not apply to recommendations in which of the following situations. I have no idea what I just read. A firm's suitability responsibilities for sales of variable annuities do not apply to recommendation of which. Okay, so they're saying that if you're a rep and you're recommending variable annuities, we're deciding whether it's a variable or a fixed. You know, fixed is for the older guys, variable is for the younger guys and girls, that kind of thing. So that's where that suitability for choosing a variable annuity. Now, once it's in there, kind of it's up to you what sub-account you're going to do. The exchange of one variable annuity for another, okay, that would be true because if we're going to pick one or another. Initial purchase, yes, because that's what I just freaking said. The initial sub-account allocation, I think that's true because we're setting up and saying, okay, you're 40 years old, you can take some risk, maybe not a lot, but you can take some risk. So let's go with D, the reallocation of assets. Right. So once we set up the annuity, you, the investor, get to choose the sub-accounts and move them around however you want. So that would probably be the answer. Love it. Hope we keep this streak up. I'm gonna blow on one because I'm going too fast. A facility is created by the issuance of industrial development and revenue bonds, IDRs. The bonds are backed by what? Are they backed by the corporation and the muni? We'll come back to that. The local muni? No, they're not doing that. The state, which the facility is domiciled? No, they're not freaking paying. And the corporation that leases the facility. Well, I know that industrial revenue bond is basically like a city buys property, builds it up, and then leases it to a corporation. And the bond is issued showing that this corporation is going to pay the leases. So I would go with the corporation that leases the facility, not both. Let's see if I'm right. Boom. Okay. Here we go. This is where I'm going to screw it up. A new issue of a Muni Bond has an aggregate par value of 10 million. The syndicate gets 5 million in designated orders, 5 million in group, and 5 million in member orders. How will the issue be allocated? So I have to remember, what's my freaking acronym for my video? I'll try to put it up here, the acronym video. PGDM, Pretty Girls Drive Mercedes. Or if you don't want to go that way, pro golfers don't miss. Or as, if you're religious, as my friend said before he went in, please God deliver me. So what does that mean? Pre-sale, group, designated member. That's the order, priority of orders. So the first thing we got is we look for the pre-sale. So we have no pre-sale, so we go to the next. We go to group. Okay, there's a group order. So we have 10 million, 5 million taken. That's a group. So boom, there's only 5 left. So then designated is the second one. Boom. So it goes 5 million to group, 5 million to designated. The members get shit out of luck. Okay, so we're going to find that 5 million to designated and 5 million to group and designated. There it is. The member gets nothing because they out. 10 million, 5 million to group, 5 million to designated. There's nothing left over. Remember, pretty girls drive Mercedes. Okay, boom. Okay. In a large private placement, an investment banking firm has purchased securities directly from an oil and gas partner. Wow. An oil and gas company based in Houston. Oh, I'm going to have to put my glasses on because I'm starting to not be able to read. In a large private placement, an investment banking firm has purchased securities directly from an oil and gas company based in Houston. These securities may be resold immediately to, okay, so what is this? So this is a private placement that's a Reg D, which means it has to be held for 6 months fully paid. And I know that if I want to sell it before that, I can't sell it to grandma and grandpa, but I can sell it to some big ass freaking companies. So I can sell it to Quibs under 144A. So let's find that. Accredited investors? No, that doesn't meet it. Any type of investor? Obviously no. Only institutional accredited? That's closer. Boom, Quibs. If it's private placement selling it during the restricted period, you can only sell it to Quibs. So that should be D. Watch, one of these I'm going to be wrong because I missed the word accept. Okay. Securities purchased under a Rule 147. What's 147? That is intrastate in one state. May be sold to an out-of-state resident. How long? I'm going to go with 6 months. I always screw this up, but it's not 3. It used to be 90 days. I think it's going to be 6 months. Watch me be wrong on this one. Boom, we got it. So if you buy shares in state under 147 exemption, which is all the investors are in the one state, you can sell it outside the state after 6 months. You should be able to sell it inside the state anytime you freaking want. Okay, for the following size transactions, ABC Mutual Fund has a bid price of $850 and an ask price of $926. Which of the following sales is allowed under the conduct rules? This is the one I'm going to get wrong. Okay. Remember, sells 250 shares at $910. Okay, that's not true because if you want to sell it below the offering price, it has to be a member firm. And a member sells 250 ABC 910 to another firm through a non-member firm. Okay, we'll come back to that. A member sells 250 shares of AB at 910 to one of its firm customers. No. And the ABC sells 250 shares of ABC Fund at 926. That should be the answer because you're selling at the offering price. Remember, you can only give a discount off the offering price to member firms, unless they have a breakpoint thing. But let's go with this. Let's see if that works. Let's see if I'm right or read it wrong. Boom, we got 10 in a row. I'll take it. I will take that. Gives me room later. So if I get the ones I get right now, so if I get a few wrong on the back end, I'm not as worried. Okay. Which of the following risks affect bonds primarily when interest rates decline? Okay. So first, interest rates go down, the price goes up. So that's awesome, but there is going to be a problem. Currency risk? No, because I'm not going outside the country. So I'll go along with political. That's up too. So it's either call risk or credit risk. Well, credit risk is a risk that they're not going to pay. They can't pay. And call risk is a risk that they're going to call the bond. When do issuers call the bonds? When interest rates drop, they call the bonds. B. And again, if you guys like these questions, and I like them because they're close, I think they're pretty good to the exam. Not exact, no one is, but I think they're pretty close. Go in my details and buy this program. It's awesome. See, I'm pitching and offering value at the same time. What a fucking salesman I am. Okay. All of the following, and if you really like what I'm doing and you think I'm smart, like, subscribe, and share this shit with people. Okay. All the following statements are true regarding MSPs, Municipal Securities Principles Exempt. Okay, here we go. This could be a problem. Any abstract or summary of an official statement must be approved by the principal. Okay, maybe we'll come back to that. The principal must approve and monitor any account in which muni securities are purchased. I'll say that one. Any advertising distributed broker deal that's limited to muni fund securities is not required to be approved by principal. And all muni advertising distributed by broker deal must be approved by the principal. Okay, so there's what's not true. I see the word accept. And what I do usually, but not today because I'm on speed, it seems like no caffeine though. I write a piece of paper down. I write the word accept up top. And every time I see the word accept, I take my hand off the mouse and put it on the word accept. And that's what, and this way I remember when I take my hand off to answer it, it reminds me it's an accept question. So I'm going to go with any abstract pre-approved, yes. Have to control the accounts, yes. Not required, oh, that doesn't work. You have to be approved. The only time they wouldn't, if it's a prospectus, which it wouldn't be munis, or an official statement or preliminary official statement would not need to be pre-approved because that's done by the issuer. A summary or abstract would be. So I'm going to go with C because that's the not true statement. Let's hope we got this right. Nervous. Oh, there we go. Okay. If a customer is short 1,000 shares of RST stock, the customer, okay, can I use the entire credit balance in the account? Well, if you watch my old short margin account, maybe that's not true. Okay. Can I use this buy stop order to limit losses? Okay, we'll come back to that. Must cover the position with 6 months. There's no end. And is entitled to receive dividends and vote at the annual meeting. No, because I shorted the stock. So I'm going to say you can buy stock. So if I'm short stock, I either buy a call for protection, sell a put for income, or do a buy stop to kind of protect myself a little bit. I like that. So I'm going to go with B. Number 14, if interest rates increase, which of the following securities has the largest price change? Okay. Oh, God. So what do I do here? Okay. So I remember this. I do long and low, right? So long-term bond, low coupon. So let's find that. Okay. So long and low. So throw the premiums out, get rid of them. So we're looking at the low coupon bonds. Which one's longer? I got to think it's a treasury bond because they're 10 to 30 years. They're going to be the most volatile. Let's hope. Fingers crossed. Boom. Okay. Which of the following statement is true about spreads? Finally, an option question. Let's hope I do that. Okay. A call spread created for a net debit is bearish. Now, when I look at this, I change the word debit to buy and credit to sell. Makes it easier. So if I have a call spread created for a net buy, it's bearish. No, because they buy calls and bulls. Out. A put spread created for a debit. Okay, buying a put, that could be bearish. That's probably the answer. Going down to C, a call spread for a credit. Interesting. So that would be bearish. So sell credit means sell a call, bearish, bullish. That's wrong. A put spread for a credit, that credit means sell put means bullish. That's bearish. If you're reading along, this should be easy to understand. So hopefully I'm going to get this. So a put spread for a debit, which is like buying a put spread, is bearish. Good stuff. Okay. Which of the following choices makes a financial commitment in the distribution of a new issue of securities? Okay, let's try this again. Which of the following choices makes a financial commitment in the distribution of a new issue of securities? Exchange, where it's listed? No. The underwriting syndicate will come back. The selling group? No, they have no liability. It's a bunch of guys sitting in Staten Island making phone calls. Go watch Boiler Room, okay, or watch Wolf of Wall Street. A customer? No, they don't have a commitment. So let's go with the underwriting syndicate because underwriters, they make the total takedown of the concession because they're taking a commitment. Boom, 16. Okay. All of the following are advantages of CMOs except, okay, advantages of CMOs. So which is not an advantage? There are a variety of bond classes available. Okay. They generally have AAA ratings. That is true. They produce tax-free interest. No freaking way. And they're available in denominations as low as 1,000. So when they say bond classes, I would think that they mean tranches. So let's go. I'm going to go with the tax-free interest because I remember there are only 7 things that don't pay taxes on every level. bills, notes, bonds, tips, and strips, geos, and revenues. I love it. If it's not one of those 7, you're paying taxes on this shit. Okay. Boom. Okay. Paul and Mary Smith have discussed various portfolio allocations with their advisor, Chuck. He has considered the Smith's risk tolerance and expected return in order to recommend an efficient portfolio. That is one in which the portfolio offers. Remember, we did this before. An efficient portfolio is something that has the most reward for the least amount of risk. So the greatest return based on average beta, maybe. Lowest of expected returns, why would I want low returns? Okay. Average of expected returns, lowest risk. Okay, that could be an answer. D, highest returns for the lowest risk. I like that. Highest returns for the lowest risk. That's what I want. Isn't that what you want? You want the best return for the least amount of risk. Okay, good. Which of the following choices is another way of expressing the earner's multiple? Okay, multiple. When I hear multiple, I always think PE ratio. PE ratio, boom. So it's not operating profit ratio, boom, never heard of it. Dividend payout ratio, yeah, but that's not it. Debt to equity is the debt versus the equity. It's not the multiple. So if you hear price to earnings, that's really the market price divided by the earnings per share. So that's the multiple. They also call it the multiple. I like it. Hope I'm not boring your asses. Okay, now, boom. Customer buys an ABC July 50 call, paying $3 premium. 7 months later, the customer exercises a call when the market price of ABC is 60. The customer immediately sells the stock for $6,000. I love when they mix. I call them mix. What do they call it? Mixing metaphors. They go 60 and 6. Okay. So when they're computing the profit, the customer uses a cost basis of, okay, remember this. When you buy a call or sell a put, cost basis is break even. When you buy a put or sell a call, break even is proceeds. And then when you buy it is the cost basis. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say I buy a 50 call at 3. I'm going to say that is my break even 53 because that's buying a call. So my break even is going to be my cost basis. Buying a call, selling a put, break even is cost basis. Buying a put, selling a call, break even is my proceeds. Boom, love it. Okay. A high net worth individual with a significant margin portfolio employs numerous hedging strategies to hedge the risk on his investments. He will find it most beneficial to use. I always get this one wrong because I flipped them. It's not combined. It's not day trading. It's either strategy or portfolio. I don't think they're going to ask. I'm going to go with I'm going to say portfolio just for the hell of it. See if I'm wrong. Oh, I got it right. So we go down here. We read it. Portfolio-based margin evaluates the risk considering long and short positions. Okay, as various hedging requirements. Okay, good. A breakpoint sale, not breakpoints, a breakpoint sale. That's a violation. It's best defined as. Let's start with D. Sales amounts with the IPO. No, because breakpoint sales are about mutual funds. Throw that out. Payment of compensation to a registered rep who has ceased to be employed. I don't even know what that is, but there's the thing you can do that. If a guy retires or a girl retires, you can cut a deal with them and pay them on their previous customers until they die. Okay. But it has to be in writing and it has to be set up before they leave. The sale of investment company shares in anticipation of an impending. See what happens when I talk too fast? The sale of an investment company shares in anticipation of an impending distribution. No, that doesn't make sense. So the sale of an investment company shares in dollar amounts just below the point at which the sales charge is reduced on quantity of transactions. In English, that means selling share, getting someone to invest just below the breakpoint so they don't get the breakpoint. That's a breakpoint sale. Good. Okay. An individual purchased 100 shares of stock at 35 a share. The stock is now trading at 44, and the issuer decides to split it 2 for 1. After the split, the individual's cost basis would be, I'm going to go with 17 just for the hell of it, because that's 2 for 1. I divide it in half, because this would be 200 shares at $17.50. Now, if it said my total cost basis, I would still go with 3,500. That's not a choice. So I'm going to go with 1750. Because if you do a stock split, 2 for 1, 2 divided by 1, that's my multiplier. 2 times 100 is 200. 35 divided by 2 is 1750. That better be the freaking answer. Good stuff. Okay. A state agency revenue bond does not have sufficient revenue to meet debt service. Okay, so it means we don't have enough money to pay their principal and interest. A provision of the indenture allows the agency to request funds from the state legislator. The legislator has the option of providing or not providing the additional funds. This is, okay, so if they have the option, well, first, let's throw out the special tax bond. Let's throw out GO. Double barrel moral obligation. Double barrel is a revenue bond that if they don't make enough money, they take the money from the town without asking. Sheriff from Nottingham kind of thing. Moral obligation is we kind of ask them to pay and they can vote yes or no. So I'm going to say they have the option to say yes or no. So I'm going to say I would call that an MO, moral obligation bond. Let's see if I'm right. Okay. The spouse of a brokerage firm employee wants to open a brokerage account in order to invest in bonds. So I want to open a brokerage account to invest in bonds. Okay. If this account is opened at a firm that does not employ her spouse, the employee of the firm is required to, okay, obtain the prior written consent of the employing firm. I like that. Oh, see, I have to read the whole thing. If the account is a joint account, that's not the requirement. Obtain the prior written consent of the employing firm each order being entered. No, you don't have to get permission unless the firm requires that. That's not a FINRA rule. Obtain the prior written consent of the employing firm in order to open the account. I think that's the answer. Obtain the written consent of the employing firm within a reasonable time. No, you have to get it before. No, it's not. You don't have to do every order. It's not only if it's a joint. Your husband or wife opens an account at another firm. They have to get permission ahead of time, but not for every order. Remember that, unless the firm requires that. There are some firms that require that. Okay. Which of the following annuity settlement options would provide the longest stream of income over the lives of two individuals? Okay. So annuity payout, there's straight life, which is paid until you die. There's joint life survivor that pays until you both are dead. And then the straight life with a 20-year period certain guarantees that even if you die after 2 years, they're going to pay. I would say so straight life is just for the one person. Life annuity with 20-year period certain is really for an individual, and it's just guaranteed to pay for a certain number of years. And a unit refund life annuity just means if you die early, you guys, and you don't pay all your money back, you'll get it back. So let's go with joint and last survivor because it's called last to die. It's until both people die. Good. When analyzing the credit strength of a muni issuer, what do I care about? Do I care about the economy? Not really. Fuck that. Who cares? Okay. The current financial status of the municipality. Yes, I do care about that. I do care about the current financial status of the municipality. Boom. So that's two. The money supply figures, that's not the town's money supply. It's the country's money supply. Don't really care. The general capability of the fiscal officers of the municipality. Yeah, because they make sure they're not a Democrat in spending. I am totally kidding. It's one, it's going to be, I promise you, I'm just kidding. 2 and 4. I said that joke to a student of mine, made him laugh. So I figured, oh, I got to answer it. Look at that. I got to actually, that's what happened. That's them snubbing back at me for it's karma for being a jerk. So they'll care about the current financial status and the general capability. I like that. Boom. Okay. I'm going to screw up one of these times. Your client owns a convertible bond that's been called at 104. The bond is convertible at 40 and is selling in the market at 107. The common stock is trading in the market at 41, which of the following choices is least attractive? So I got to bring out my handy dandy calculator. So first thing I'm going to do, okay. First thing I'm going to do is find my calculator. Boom, calculator. Then I'm going to do 1,000 because par 1,000 divided by 40. That gives me 25. That's my ratio. That's how many shares I get every time I convert. So then I'm going to do 25 times 41. That gives me 1,025. So if I convert, I get 1,025. Remember, they're asking for the least because they're bastards. Okay, they're not asking for the best. So if they call the bond, let's see, which is, okay, so it's convertible at 104. So I can sell it for 104. I can let it be called at 104. See what happens? I can let it be called at 104. I can sell it at 107, or I can convert it and get 1,025. I think converting it is going to be bad. So no, I get 104. Sell the bond, I get 107. Those are fine. They're all equally no. Convert the bond, I get 1,025 because that would not be good. That's the least attractive. Okay. The credit rating agencies have downgraded an issuer. Oh, they downgraded an issuer of an ETN. Which of the following statements is true? So remember, ETN is a form of a bond, a note. So it's going to reduce, it's going to make it worse. It will have a positive impact. No fucking way. You downgrade an issuer, it's not a good thing. Do they have to pay the principal immediately? Nah, that's like the thing. It'll have a negative impact. Okay, it'll have no impact. If it was an ETF, it really wouldn't have an impact. But since it's an ETN and it's a bond, which is a type of bond or debt, it would have a negative impact on the security. Boom. I'm waiting to see a red X here at some point because I'm getting too cocky. A closed-end fund shares are listed on the Wall Street Journal, in the Wall Street Journal, with a net asset value of $21.85 and a market price of $21.50. Closed-end fund. If the customer purchases the shares at the current market price, he will pay. Okay. So remember, open ends have sales charges and closed ends have commissions or markups. So let's go with, you're going to pay $21.50 plus a commission because there's no sales charges. And why would I pay $21.85? Because that's the NAV. And in a closed end, I don't give a shit about the NAV. So I'm going to pay $21.50 plus a commission. Boom. I'm telling you, I'm getting cocky. It's one of these going to be bad. How would a preferred stock most likely be affected by an increase in interest rates? So preferred is like a bond. So it moves with interest rates. So if interest rates go up, guess what happens? The price goes down. So we look at it, we go, A, increase, no. B, decrease. It don't change the fucking dividend. It doesn't change. There'd be no effect, no. The market value would decrease because if rates go up, the price goes down. Boom. REITs invest in all the following except, okay, this is where I'm going to get it wrong. What do they not do? Do they not invest in self-storage, undeveloped? Oof. I'm having a tough time with them. I'm just going to pick one. I don't know this. So this is what you do. When you don't know something and you're just going to guess, try to knock a couple out. So, okay. So I don't think they do. Maybe they don't do undeveloped. Let's find out. Because usually it's about income and stuff like that. I don't know. But all of these things pay income and they rent. So let's try that one. I got lucky. Okay. Seriously. I did not know that. But I just try to figure out what makes it, which one doesn't belong here. Self-storage, golf, and shopping centers, people pay rent. And there's revenue coming in. So they might do that. Okay. Oh, fun. On June 15th, an investor purchased 100 shares of ABC at 20. On November 10th, he purchased an additional 100 shares of ABC at 12. So let's look to see if they're doing a wash sale game. On January 20th, he sold 100 shares at 15. For tax purposes, he would have reported. So you're going to do, since in my mind, he didn't mention a method, or she didn't mention, okay. Bought 100 shares at 20 and then bought 100 shares at 12. You're going to have to do FIFO. So he's going to have a tax loss, a capital loss of $500 in 2014. Because so technically, since they didn't mention a method, I have to go with that. They have to do FIFO if they didn't mention a method. He didn't say anything, right? Okay. So he bought stock at 20, sold it at 15 because that's the first shares. Bought it at 20, sold it at 15. That's a $500 loss. I think that's the answer. Let's find out if I screwed that up. There we go. Good. Okay. Mike is long a yield-based put option. Okay, so buy interest rate puts and yield-based puts, calls or puts. I'm betting on the interest rates. Mike would like to see interest rates. Okay, so if you buy a put on something, you want it to go down. Fall, yes. Rise, no. Stabilize, no. Fluctuate, that's not the best answer. So when I buy a put on something, I want the actual thing to go down in price. Good. Okay. Did I pick the wrong one? I did. I picked the wrong. There's my X. I got cocky. I said I wanted to fall, and I pressed the wrong one. Serves me right. Okay. Confirmations for transactions must be sent when? Written or electronic, both written and electronic, either written or electronic. I'm going to go with D because they have to be written down somewhere, but it's sort of the same thing. So we don't have to send paper, but we can do both. We should be able to do both. Boom. See, I didn't let the one I got wrong screw me up. Don't ever let it get you. Just move on and don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Be like a goalie. You get in a goal, you let in a goal, shit happens. Okay. An investor writes a 70 call at 3 and a 70 put at 1. So this is a sell a call, sell a put. So it's selling both. So it's short something. Now, are the strikes the same? Are the months the same? Yes. So that would be a straddle. It's a short straddle, so I sold both. If the months or the strikes are different, it would be a combo. Short straddle, what do I want? I want stability. Good. An investor purchased the following bond. State of Florida, 8% bond due in 2020. State of California, 8.5% bond, 2020. A lot of bonds. State of New York. Okay. So he bought a California, he bought a Florida, he bought a California, he bought a New York, he bought a Wayne County, Michigan, and he bought a revenue bond, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So it looks like he's all over the freaking country. So I think he's doing geographical diversification. Let's see if I'm right. Boom, he's all over the country, so he's doing that. I think I'm going to do up to question 50 and call it there because I don't want to bore the hell out of you guys. Okay. An issuer currently has an S&P A rating, A-. If the rating service is notified of the firm that has been upgraded by 2 notches, they will never do this to you. Its new rating, but let's see, so A minus, A should be A plus is my guess, because it was A minus, A plus, then triple A minus. Let's see if I'm wrong or right. Who knows? I could screw this up. Boom. So it's A minus up 2 notches to A plus, like school. And then you go to double A minus, double A plus. Then you go to triple A minus, triple A plus. Okay. Boom. Okay. When pricing a bond in the secondary market, what information is not required? When pricing a bond in the secondary market. Okay. So I do need the coupon rate, because I have to know what I'm doing. I need the settlement day, I think, because you have to know when it's settling. I think I need the maturity date. Do I need the name of the lead underwriter? I don't think so. So I'm going to say I don't need the name of the underwriter, because that doesn't matter. Do you care when you're buying a bond who the underwriter is? I don't think so. Okay. A customer wishes to make a purchase based on his belief that interest rates will decline over the next 15. So I'm thinking rates are going to decline. So the recommendation of which of the two of the following is not consistent. God, I hate when they do that, because if you go too quick, then you're going to get wrong. They want to know what's wrong. So I just try to find out what's right and don't do them. So if rates are dropping, I don't want a short-term bond, okay? So if rates are dropping, I don't want a short-term bond. So what would I want? I would want a 5-year non-callable. And I think the floating rate would be bad. So I would want 1 and 4. So I'm going to say 2 and 3 would be the answer, because I don't want a tan, because it's short-term. So as rates drop, that bond's going to mature, and then I'm going to buy a new bond with a low rate. And the floating rate means as the rates go down, it goes down. So I'm going to say dose and trace. Let's see if that works. And we're good. Okay. You are the portfolio manager for Home Fund Inc., a mortgage-backed securities mutual fund. Which type of risk concerns you in a falling interest rate environment? Okay. Mortgage-backed securities. So whenever you hear mortgage-backed securities, I know it's either prepay or extension. And there it is, prepayment risk. Credit risk, not really a big deal, I don't think. Political risk, not outside the country. Never heard of homeowner risk. So I'm going to go with prepayment risk. There we go. Okay. A municipality borrowing for a short-term period to finance a capital project would issue what? What would they issue? So, well, okay, let's go through it. Not debentures or long-term. Munis don't do commercial paper. Corporations do. So it's either a TAN or a band. So bands are not, so let's talk about this. Short-term period to finance a capital project. So a TAN is more for budget shortfalls. So I'm going to go with band just because I'm an idiot. Bands are what you do is you issue before you issue a GO bond. Boom. So TANs are for short-term, like we need the money now. Like if the TAN's more for like, if it's snowing, like in New York City, it costs $2 million an inch to pick up the snow. So maybe we don't have that money in January, but we know we're getting in April. But we'll issue a TAN now in January to get the money. And then in April, it'll pay off with the taxes. A bond anticipation note is we got approval to issue a GO, but it's not done yet. So I'll borrow now to start building. And then when the GO is issued, it'll pay it off. Okay. Under Reg T, which of the following securities is not marginable? Okay. Mutual. So basically anything on an exchange, boom, is good. A and B, out. They are marginable. Now the question is, mutual funds are not marginable when you buy them. But remember, when you do an IPO, the first 30 days is not marginable. So the mutual fund does an IPO. Once you held it for 30 days, it's marginable. I'm going to say over the counter. Over the counter bulletin board and pink sheets are not marginable unless they say marginable securities, which normally would be a stock that went on the pinks or bulletin board, but it was on an exchange at one point. Okay. I love it. A customer purchases a muni security in the secondary market at a discount. At maturity, the customer will have. Okay, so customer purchases a muni security in the secondary market at a discount. Okay, not have to pay tax on the amount of discount. No, freaking way. If it's an OID, yes. Treat the discount as ordinary income. Treat part of the discount as capital gain and part of the ordinary income. Treat the discount as a capital gain. I'm having a tough time. So let's pick an answer. Let's just go crazy and say at maturity. That's why I'll be wrong. So here's the deal on this. If you hold the bond to maturity, there's no capital gain or loss. Say it with me. If you hold the bond to maturity, there's no capital gain or loss. Awesome. A brokerage firm erroneously confirms to a customer a purchase of 100 shares at $28.25. The firm later finds out that the purchase was actually made at $28.75. What do? The customer has to pay the $28.75 because it's not a real error. That's a reporting error. A reporting error, the customer pays what he's supposed to. If I execute at the wrong price, then they may get the better price, depending. Okay. So they must pay $28.75 because that's the price he really did it at. Not our, well, they're going to be mad at us, but we can't give them the better price. Which of the following bonds would increase the most in price if interest rates decline? So if rates go down, bonds go up. So which ones move the most? Long and low, baby. So long-term bonds move the most. So we're going to go with the discounts. So we got A and C, because that's low coupon or low price, with the long-term. So I'm going to go with C, long-term. It says the most, right? It doesn't say least. Always kind of double check a little bit. I'm going faster than you should because I want to get as much in as I can. Okay. The board of directors of a corporation is responsible for establishing all the following dates except. Okay. So we have DERP, Declaration X, Record Payable. Declaration is corporation, record is corporation, payable. The X date is set by FINRA. So we're going to say the X date is not set by the corporation. Wunderbar. Okay. Maybe I'll go more than 50. I'm in a good mood. Which of the following choices is a feature of the NASDAQ Level 2 system? Okay, so Level 1 shows bid and ask. Level 2 shows all the backup bids. Level 3 is the same thing, but you can enter quotes. So this is Level 2. The price of the transactions as occur. Firm quotes of all market makers in a stock. Cumulative volume. Allowing a market maker to change his quotes. That'd be 3. So let's say it's a firm quotes of all the market makers. It shows all the bids and asks. That's my game. That's what I did for 20 years. Okay, but bond is currently selling for less than par. So if it's below par, it's a discount. So I go coupon, current, yield to maturity, yield to cost. So let's start with that one. Current is lower than the nominal. No freaking way. Current is higher than a nominal. Yeah, that's the answer, but always read the rest. Current is equal. No. And interest rates are currently lower than when the bond are currently issued. No, because if it's a premium, if it's a discount, the rates went up. So I'm going to go with current yield is higher than the nominal. Okay, good. A registered rep wants to open a new account for a client who is a resident of Mexico. Which of the following statements is true? Customer verification of the client's personal information is not required if the customer is served by an existing client. Okay. I might get this one wrong. Customer verification of a client's personal information is required in the name if the name is on the OFAC list. You're on OFAC here. Okay, I'm not going to say it. Client can have either a taxpayer identification number or a passport number and current. I'm going to go, which if I is true. I'm going to say, and I'm probably wrong. I'm going to probably C, but I'm going to go with D because I like that one the best. And it's wrong. So you can have either the TIN or a passport number in the country of origin. There you go. At some point, you have to get some sort of taxpayer identification. There we go. Look at that. Makes sense. Good stuff. I should have stopped at 49. Okay. Which of the following statements, let me put this up here. Which of the following statements is not true concerning the Student Loan Marketing Association? Provides loans to educational institutions. It issues securities that can be redeemed to pay for college education. It issues securities that are not backed by the U.S. government. And it purchases federally sponsored student loans. Provides loans to educational issues securities that can be redeemed to pay for. Yeah, that's not true. I mean, they're all kind of screwed up. Okay, they don't issue securities that can be redeemed to pay for college education. You can't issue a bond and then sell it. That doesn't work. Okay, I don't like any of those answers, but that was the best one of them all. Okay, all of the following statements are true concerning both auction rate securities and VRDOs. They are long-term securities with short-term trading features. Oh, what's not true? See what happened? You read too fucking fast. All of the following statements are true concerning. I should always know that. Whenever they say we're true, there's usually an except following it. All the following statements are true concerning both ARSs and VRDOs, except they are often issued by munis. Yes. They have a put feature allowing the holder to redeem. Well, I know the VRDOs do. And interest rates are set at specific intervals. That is true because of auctions. So I'm going to say what's different is that the VRDOs have a put option. Auction rate securities do not. There we go. Okay. Which of the following is an expense or charge not normally associated with a variable annuity? Investment management fees, redemption fees, administration expenses, and expense charges. I'm going to go with redemption fees just because I'm taking a freaking guess that they won't even be on the test. Okay. Again, because there's no redemption of an annuity. Once you're in, you're in. What happens is if you get out of it before you annuitize, you pay surrender fees, not redemption fees. Okay. Which of the following statements is true about concerning modern portfolio theory. Portfolio managers should only focus on the best of performing. Okay, wish we would know. Portfolio management should be based on the risk and return of individual securities. Portfolio management focuses on diversification among different classes of assets. Should always avoid securities. So we don't avoid securities with risk. So D is out and A is out. So it's either based on the risk and return of individual securities, or should focus on the diversification among different asset classes. I'm going to go with C, even though I could see the justification for B. The point is portfolio management, modern portfolio theories, you're looking at not just individual securities, you're looking at how they mix together and how you diversify. Okay, good. A client wants to invest $250 a month and have a broad exposure to the U.S. equity market. Okay. Which of the following recommendations is most suitable? So he's putting in $250 a month. It's like dollar cost averaging. Whenever I hear dollar cost averaging, I always think mutual fund. So closed-end fund, no. B maybe. C, no, because it's an ETF. And D, it's an ETF. So the reason you don't go with A, C, or D is because when you have dollar cost averaging, eventually you hit the rights of accumulation and the money you put in hits a break point, which means your sales charges go down. So ever you think about dollar cost averaging, it's always mutual funds. I'm not a mutual fund guy. I like ETFs, but in this question, we got that. Okay, good. Okay. Which two of the following statements are true about real estate REITs again? Okay. They must distribute 90% of their earnings to shareholders. That's a true statement. They may invest only in short-term construction loans. No, that doesn't make sense. They must invest in mortgages and securities. No, they don't have to do that. And their profits are derived from the difference between the payments on the outstanding mortgages and they receive from rental income, which is basically, that's a great way to make money. You buy a property, you pay $400, say you pay $5,000 a month in interest, but you get $6,000 a month in rent, you're good. So I'm going to say it's going to be 1 and 4. Hope that's an answer. You know what you hate? When you go, oh, I got it 1 and 4, and then you don't, then your choice isn't there. So you can hate it, but also think, good, that means they're not letting you screw that up. So you can't get it wrong. Boom, love it. Miss Green, Rachel Green, buys 300 shares of RSW at 15. She then writes 3 calls and writes 3 10 puts at 50 cents. You will never get this on the test. There's a whole way to do this, but the way I do it, just because I know it's on the test, I basically double the losses on the stock. Okay, which I just remember, this is not an accurate way to do it. I can do this where I go, you buy 300, you lose on this, you lose on that. I'm not wasting your time because you're not going to see this. I doubled what I could lose. So 300 shares at 15 is 4,500, double that, and then kind of take off the premiums. I'm going to go with 7,050. I could be wrong, but I double it and just find the closest answer to that and let it go. And I just don't worry about it. I never worry about it. Okay. Whenever I see these questions, I know I won't see it on the exam, so I don't care. In reality, you're looking for neutrality with this thing. This is like a covered straddle. So that's all this is. Covered combo, actually. Okay. I don't care how you do it. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to teach it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to even worry about it at all. An investor purchased a fixed annuity 20 years ago from a top-rated insurance company. The investor is now considering whether to annuitize on a straight life basis or take a lump sum. Okay. And invest it anywhere else. If economists are now forecasting an extended period of significant inflation, which of the following is the greatest risk facing the investor if they choose to annuitize? Well, he just freaking said it. Lots of inflation is going to be purchasing power risk. Because if you do a fixed annuity, you're getting the same amount of money every time, which means as costs go up, you're earning the same amount of money, but it's buying less. So always remember, fixed annuities have inflation or purchasing power risk. Variable annuities have market risk. The closing prices of 2 mutual funds on Monday, July 17th are, okay, we got them. The sales charge of the Ocean Fund. Okay, so the Ocean Fund, so the bid is $525, the offer is $550. So that's a 25 cents sales charge, but they're not going to be nice to you. Remember, the sales charge is based off the POP. So you should do 0.25 divided by 5.5 equals 4.5%. 4 point, it's really that, but it's 4.5%. I would go with that because remember, you're dividing the sales charge by the POP, not the NAV. The NAV is the bid, the POP is the offer. If it's not right, I'll have a heart attack. Good, there we go. In a DPP, direct participation program, limited partnership, which parties are last to be paid? So remember, it's secured, unsecured, LPGP, secured, unsecured, LPGP. So it's got to be the GP is last. Good. And remember, and guys, don't do it this fast. I've done 60 questions in under an hour, in less than an hour. So don't do this fast. I'm doing it so you guys don't fucking fall asleep on me. Okay, let's move on. I was about to read the same question again because I'm an idiot. An investor purchases an ABC Corporation October 50 put and pays a premium 7. So I buy a 50 put at 7. The underlying security declines to 40 a share. So remember what I said about the break even. Break even on buying a put and selling a call is the proceeds. So break even on buying a put or selling a call is proceeds. This is easy. 50 minus 7 is my break even. So it's going to be 43. That better be 43. And then if I bought the stock at 40, that would be my cost basis and I'd make $300. Boom. A bond with a 6% coupon is priced at 720 basis. That's yield to maturity. If the bond's yield to maturity increases by 40 basis points, the yield would be, I hate this shit. So the yield should be, I think it's going to be 7.6. I could be way wrong. So 40 basis points. Remember, 100 basis points is $10 is 1%. So if it goes up 40 basis points, it's 0.4%, which goes from 720 to 760. Remember that 100 basis points is 1% is $10, or $10 is 1%. Good. ABC Corp has issued a call notice on its 5% convertible preferred stock. This preferred stock, which is convertible at $20, is being called at 110. Don't you hate when you read something and you just lose it? ABC Corp has issued, and I'm not editing this. I may edit one thing because I think I cursed a little too much, but other than that, I'm going forward with this. ABC Corp has issued a call notice on its 5% convertible preferred stock. The preferred stock, which is convertible at $20, is being called at 110 and is currently trading at 111. If ABC's common stock is currently trading at 23, what should the R members do? So let's see. So the preferred stock is convertible at 20. So I'm going to do, first thing I do is do 100 divided by 20. So that gives me 5. So I'm going to get 5 shares for every bond, for every convertible preferred stock I. So 100 divided by 20, par divided by 20. Okay. So that gives me 5 shares. Now I want to know what should I do. So if the common stock is trading at 23, I'm going to do 5 times 23. That gives me 115. So if I sell it, I get 111. If it's being called at 110. And I convert it, I get 115. So I would say convert the stock. I would say that because if I get remember, what should they do? Always look to see what should they not. Whenever they do this, try to look to see if they're saying what's the least or what's the most. Again, guys, if you like this program, go on STC, go on my link and buy the program. I love this thing. Okay. They have crunch time facts. They have a lot of stuff. They have videos. They have everything. So now if ABC's common stock is currently trading at 23, I do 5 times 23. That gives me 115. If I convert, that's the best of the 3 choices. Boom, love it. Okay. That's not good. Premature withdrawals, sorry, bad joke. Premature withdrawals from a traditional IRA are subject to a penalty of your wife not talking to you for weeks, 10%. Good. Sorry. Okay. I had to. Okay. Which of the following statements is not true regarding the purchaser of a put option? So what's not true? The purchaser right to sell stock. Yes, that's true. The purchaser limits the amount of money he could lose if the value of the underlying stock increases. Yes, that's true. You can only lose your premium. The only way to realize a profit is exercise. We'll come back to that. The purchaser benefits if the stock declines. That's true. So on a C, there are multiple ways to make money. If you buy a put, you can either exercise the option or just sell the option for that it's worth more because remember, as the stock goes down, a put becomes more valuable and you can sell it for more than you paid for it, make money that way. So that has to be the answer. Okay. You know what? I think I'm going to do this one, then I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to do the next one. I'll finish this up at another time when I'm not as tired and I got to go eat dinner. If the purchaser, and watch, this is going to be the one I get wrong. If the purchaser of a non-qualified annuity dies at 56, which best describes the tax impact? Okay. Yeah. Okay. First of all, you're not charging a penalty on a guy who dies. Okay. You're not going to, so A and B have to be out. Okay. Okay. There is no penalty assessed, and the difference between the amount invested and the death benefit is considered non-taxable. Come back to that. There is no penalty assessed, and the difference between the amount invested and the death benefit is taxable at. Non-qualified annuity. I'm going to go with D. Watch, I'll get this wrong. Hell, I'll just edit this shit out. That's right. Boom. Because if it's a life insurance, you don't pay taxes on it. But if it's an annuity, yes, of course you pay taxes on it. I'm in a good mood. I'm going to move on. Which of the following choices would be most suitable for most suitable purchasers? Okay, which two of the following choices would be the most suitable purchasers of Muni zero coupon bonds? An investor who does not seek present additional cash flow. I agree with that. Tax advantage benefits of long-term capital gains. No, because you have to accrete. Oh, we'll come back to that maybe. An investor who needs cash for living expenses. No. A custodian account where the parent of the minor child is in the highest tax bracket. An investor does not seek present. Okay, so we know that one is an answer. So if I buy Muni zeros, I don't pay interest. So I'm going to go with 1 and 4 because I don't think you're going to get gains. So remember, capital gains always pay tax on. So I'm going to go with 1 and 4. Okay, I think I'm right. There we go. Rule 145 applies to, okay, this is one thing, they'll never do this maybe once or twice, but not enough to fail you. 145 is mergers and acquisitions. Boom, that's what it is. Okay, watch, I'm wrong. Okay. On Thursday, October 7th, a customer purchases 1,000 shares of stock, which is listed on the New York Stock Exchange. The trade would settle. So if I buy the stock on Thursday, it's T+2. It's not going to be, now I got to do this shit in my head and embarrass myself. Friday the 8th, Saturday the 9th, Sunday the 10th, Monday the 11th. It's got to be the 11th because it can't settle on the weekend. Thank God I was right. That was too easy. Some of those easy ones you get cocky and that's the ones you get wrong. Of the following factors, which would be the most important to consider when analyzing a client's investment portfolio who has retirement as her primary thing? Okay. Yeah, I would think you got to know how old they are, how long they need. Do I care where they went to college? No. Do I care what they did before? No. Do I care about their net worth? Maybe. But I do think I want age. Because net worth is a house. Doesn't mean they have a house and all the other stuff. It doesn't mean they have liquid assets. I would go with age. Perfect. Okay. A registered rep discovers that one of her customers is on the OFAC. A registered rep discovers that one of her customers is on the OFAC list. The RR and another firm must notify. Oh, I think it's the Treasury. I'm crazy. Good. Okay. Let's go to 75. The PSA model is used when pricing CMOs. That's just a thing you got to remember. These other things that make sense. A broker-dealer is acting as a principal in which of the following? So principal means you're using an inventory. Selling bonds from inventory. Yes. 1. Selling bonds from it. Yes. 2. Buying bonds from another broker. Yes. Inventory. Yes. Buying 500 bonds to fill an insurance company for 2. Yeah, because you're buying more. So I'm going to say all 4. Okay, because you're buying 500 bonds. The insurance company only wants 250. You need to buy 250 in your own inventory. So I'm going to go with all fucking 4. Good. 74. A limited partner has contributed capital to a DPP. 2 years later, he extends a loan. Which of the following statements is true if the DPP declares bankruptcy? The LP is considered a limited partner for both the capital contribution and the loan. The LP is considered a creditor for the capital. And whoa, okay, hold on. No. The LP is considered a creditor for both. Okay. Yeah, so it should be. So if I'm an LP and I lend money to the limited partnership, the money I put in, I'm losing because I'm a partner. But the money I lent them, I am a creditor and they have to fucking pay me. That better be right. Okay. 75, we're going to end on this. An individual has invested in a non-qualified variable annuity. If she withdraws the entire value of the annuity, the tax treatment will be. So if I invest in a non-qualified and I take it out, the non-qualified means I put in stuff after taxes. So after tax, so the money I put in is not going to be taxed. Okay. So B is out. C might be capital gain. No, because it's retirement. It's always ordinary income. Ordinary income without excess of original investment. Capital, there's no capital gains in retirements. So it's going to be ordinary income on the amount in excess of the original investment. Good. Oh, let's keep going. Okay. A Reg A exemption allows for an issuer that's offering. Okay. So Reg A plus is up to 20 million, up to 50 million. So what's the best answer? We can't raise more than 50 million. I'm going to go with that. Okay. By the way, don't ever do the test this fast. I'm just doing it again so you guys don't fall asleep. And again, if you like the stuff, buy my shit. Okay. Which of the following statements is true concerning reverse convertibles? Oh, I hate these. They're never on the exam. An investor will receive a coupon rate below. No, they get a higher rate because there's more risk. The investor is anticipating the price will be above. I'll give you that. They're suitable for who wants to own shares of the underlying asset. Investors anticipating decrease. So I'm going to say, usually what happens is they are going to not, reverse convertible means that instead of you having the choice to convert, it's up to the issuer, and they're going to do it and it's bad for you. So you're hoping that the asset goes up, I think. I always hate these stupid things. You're hoping that it'll go up so it wouldn't get called. It wouldn't get converted. Let's see if we're right. Okay. Because if it goes down and the price goes down, they're going to convert your ass and give you a lower price, the stock, when it's trading at a lower price. But if it goes up, they go, we'll keep it. Remember, reverse convertible is the fact that the issuer makes the decision when to convert, and they're going to do it when it's bad for you. Level debt service, you're paying the same amount of money every time, even if you pay it off, okay? Annual principal payments are equal, okay. Boom, it should be that one. All your payments are equal. Oh, God, it's going to be fucking bad. I know this. Okay. Basically, this question's written horribly, but what it is you're paying the same amount of money no matter what. Even if one of the bonds disappears, you're going to pay the same amount of money. It just more goes toward principal now because instead of having, say you're paying 5 bonds of 1,000 each. That's 1,000 each on 5 bonds, and one bond goes away. You're going to continue to pay $5,000. It's just now it's $1,250 per bond because there's only 4 of them. Okay. So you're going to speed this stuff up. Okay. An investor has made the following purchase of ZAM. Okay. The investor sells some for 13 based on the various purchases, which shares may be sold to result in the greatest gain with the lowest tax liability. So these tricky questions sometimes may or may not show up on the real exam. So what you're going to do is try to find the ones that are long-term. So he sold them in March 2015. So you want to find something that is at least over a year. So we're going to go with the top 2. Okay. And sold them at what price? So if we sell the 56 shares, well, we're losing money. And we sell the shares, actually, so you can actually do the C also, because that's over a year since he sold them in March. So I'm going to go with maybe the shares I bought in January of 2014. It's long, but I also I'm buying it at 36. So, because if I buy them at 39, I make 11, 12. If I buy them at 36, I make 15. So I'm going to go with the ones I bought in January 14th. I could be wrong on their part, but let's go with it. Boom, because you're both. So the first 3 are all long-term, but the last one is not. And then I should have seen that they were the same and try to figure that out. But the 39 gives me a less gain. It only gives me, 1,200 versus 1,500. Okay, which of the following formulas is used to calculate current yield? Okay, it's current assets. No, that's wrong. My bad. That's a current ratio. So it's going to be annual income over market price. So not over the cost, it's over the current market value. So it's always going to be A. It's always the annual interest or dividends over the market price. This looks the same, but it's not over the cost. Boom. Okay. The payoff of variable annuity is not dependent on the investor's age and gender. We'll come back to that. Dependent on that's not true. Dependent on the investment returns that are earned by the annuitant. Dependent on the investment returns that are earned by the insurance company. Dependent on no, it's not on the medical history. So it's going to be the variable annuity. It's based on what the separate account does. That better be right. Okay, good. Okay. Which of the following issues would most likely, see, I'm running out of steam, right? Which of the following issues would most likely have a mandatory sinking fund? I'm going to go with Just try it. I don't know if I'm right or not. Not convertible issues. I don't think cereals would do it. I think a balloon might, or a term. Let's go with it. Let's see what happens. Okay. So term issues. Why? Because they pay. It just, that's what it is. So mandatory sinking fund is you put money aside to pay off the bonds little by little. Okay. Which of the following will not offer protection in the event of a muni bond declining in value due to rising interest rates or financial difficulties? Which will not offer protection? A letter of credit, I think would, I guess. Bond insurance would. A call provision. I think A has to be the answer because it has nothing to do with protecting the investor. It has to do with protecting the issuer. Bond insurance, letters of credit, and credit enhancements can give you more security. That's what they're talking about. And the put provision allows you to sell it back to the issuer anytime you want at par. Okay. If a bond has a basis of 4.33 and a coupon rate of 5.77, the bond is okay. So the basis is like yield to maturity. The coupon rate is 55.7. The coupon is higher than the basis. It has to be a premium bond. It has to be, because we know they'll teeter-totter or triangle. Very good. A mortgage-backed security that is available in several tranches, each with different cash flow, would be you hear the word tranche, always going to go with CMO, not the other shit. Okay. Which of the following approvals is required before a muni can begin taking payments on a more obligation bond? Remember, double barrel, it's automatically, if the revenue runs out of money, they take the money like the Sheriff of Nottingham. But in a more obligation, they have to ask the legislator to pay. So you need the legislator to say, sure, we'll pay you. In a new muni issue, what is a group order? Pre-sale group designated member. Okay. So it's not C. It could be A. It's going to be D. I think it's going to be D, because a group order, you split the commissions. Okay. Got it. I think that's what it's going to be. Watch. I'll be wrong, but we'll see. It happens once in a while, right? So basically, pre-sale and group orders, all of the commissions or markups or profits are split by all the members of the syndicate. A designated order, only the person making the sale commits it, gets it. That's why it comes third. And remember, basically nobody's making money on that. Okay. The maximum underwriting compensation for selling limited partnerships should be, it's not 5% because that's for stocks and bonds. It should be 10%. Could be wrong. Boom, there it is. So anything with a prospectus or new issue or something like that is not going to be subject to the 5% guideline. A variable annuity would be most suitable for which of the following customers? Someone who's an idiot, sorry. A client in a high tax bracket who's purchasing annuity for short-term liquidity? No, because you can't take the freaking money out. A client who's purchasing annuity to have the funds available by 50? No, because it's a retirement account. Now you can annuitize at any age. I don't think that's what they mean. They want to withdraw the money. That doesn't work. A client who is in a high tax bracket who's purchasing annuity for a spouse's retirement needs. That could be true. Client who's purchasing annuity in a 401k for his retirement needs. Now, I have a problem with that one. I think you can do that, but I'm going to go with C just to be wrong, and maybe I'll stop and pretend it didn't happen. Okay, so you can't, the reason I'm saying the 401k, because you can't actually pick specific securities in a 401k. Okay. And the thing is, the 401k already has tax deferred benefits, so why the hell would you do that? Okay. And remember, annuities are for retirements. The bond buyer index is based on which of the following securities? We know that the bond buyer is all about munis. Don't even have to think about that shit. Okay. Oh, fun. Okay. Customer buys 10, 50, calls at 3, and buys 10, 50, puts at 3. Oh, that's a straddle. It's a long straddle. So long straddles, I know have 2 break even. So I'm going to add. So I'm going to do, so I add them together because it's 2 buys, right? So I have $6 in premium. So I'm going to go up and down. I'm going to go add 6 to 50 and subtract 6 from 50. It should be 56 and 44. 1 and 4. Boom. Love it when I'm right. On behalf of our firm, a registered rep is holding a seminar, and the audience will consist of registered reps from other firms. This type of communication, since it's not customers to things, I think it's going to have to be institutional. It's not internal because it's other firms. I would say it's going to be institutional because they're representing, watch, oh, there we go. Since they're representing broker-dealers, which are institutions. On December 16th, purchased 2 listed 70 calls, paid a FOIL premium. If in May, the market price is 67, the calls expire. Mr. Smith loses. Well, you think it's 4, but he bought 2 of them, so it's going to be 8. So he's going to lose. So I did that way too fast. You should never do that. But here, but 70 calls at 4. So we paid $800. Fucking expire and you lose $800. What's the basic balance sheet question? Oh, I always hate this one. So it should be total assets. I always remember this. So stockholders' equity. Yeah, total liabilities plus total assets right here. There it is. Should be this one, I think. I always mess that up. Unless it's minus, and I'm going to screw this up. I get it wrong every fucking time. So it's total assets equal. So it's liabilities plus stock. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Okay. There you go. Now you know the basic balance sheet equation. A corporation is not considered to be in default if it fails to pay interest on which of the following bonds. Okay. So debentures, yeah, they got to freaking pay. Mortgage bonds, they got to pay. Convertible bonds, they got to pay. So income bonds are bonds of bankrupt bonds, get out of bankruptcy bonds, and they only pay if they only are liable to pay if the company has a certain type of income. So boom, income bonds are not the thing. Which is not bullish. And remember something, when they say not bullish, they don't always mean bearish, they can mean flat. A short put is bullish, boom. Writing a straddle is neutral, so it's not bullish. That could be the answer. Long a call is bullish, short a call. So long a 40 call and short a 50 call is a debit spread because the 40 call is better. I have to pay more for that. Long call is a dominant. I am bullish. A married put, I bought stock and bought a put. I'm bullish. So it has to be B. Doesn't always mean it's bearish. Sometimes it just means it's not bullish. A notice is published stating that the RMO, I'm going to stop at 100 because I am dying. A notice is published stating that, and it's like, what, 10:30 at night. A notice is published stating that the RMO 5% convertible preferred stock will be called at 60 a share. The preferred is convertible into half a share common and it's selling the market at 66. After the notice appears, the price of preferred stock will most likely trade in the market. Okay, so what happens is the stock will move. Usually the stock will move to where it's being called. Okay, so after the notice appears, so they're going to convert to half share common and selling the market at 56. Oh, it should be trading at 60. I think that's what it's going to be because it should be called. Okay, I think so. I think that's the answer. Because usually what happens is when they call, and this is, so if your stock's trading at 56 and they announce a call, then obviously the company's willing to pay 60. So anyone who bought it below 60 would be automatically walking into a profit. So you would buy stock at anywhere up to $59.99, knowing that you'd make a profit. Customers a low margin account. Okay. So first, market value is 12. What's the minimum maintenance? This is super easy, even though it looks harder, even though I grunted, right? So you do 12,000 times, is it long? It's long, 0.25, should be $3,000 because that's 25% of minimum maintenance is 25% on a long and 30% on a short, just making sure everything's long. Good. That should be the answer. Boom. Okay. You know 100 is going to be a bitch of a question. Which of the following choices best describe euro dollars? Okay, it's U.S. currency deposited in a foreign bank. It's got to be freaking A. But make sure we all look. U.S. dollars deposited in European banks. See, it's not specifically European banks. It's any foreign bank. So that's why B is wrong. U.S. dollars in U.S. banks? No, that's just my savings account, which is like $9 in it. European currency? No, that doesn't work. So it's U.S. dollars deposited in foreign banks. Which of the following factors is least useful when analyzing the credit risk of an issuer of revenue bonds? Okay, so revenue bonds, okay, which is the least useful when analyzing the credit risk. Oh, the credit risk. Okay, the debt coverage ratio, that does matter. The feasibility study, yeah. Engineering study, yeah. Is it going to work? Is it going to break? Are people going to take it? So it could be the engineering study. The ratio of the amount of net overall debt to assessed valuation. Isn't that really for GOs? So I'm going to go with D. It's just going to be engineering because that's for GOs. Should I keep going? Should I fight it out and fix the last 35? What the hell? Okay. Customer owns a JRF October 50 listed call option. God, it's on an hour and 20 already. Customer owns JRF October 50 call option. JRF has declared a $1 cash dividend. When JRF sells X dividend, which of the following choices will reflect the price and numbers of shares on the JRF 50 option? So they announce a cash dividend. Who the fuck cares? I don't really give a shit about a cash option. So it's going to be a 50 call. Yeah, what the hell? It's a cash dividend. It makes it seem so much harder than it is. Well, I'll be wrong. Boom. Cash dividend, nobody cares. If it's a stock dividend of a certain percentage, then we would adjust things. An individual has been purchasing shares of a mutual fund and has chosen to reinvest all the distributions rather than take payments. Okay, we know where we might be going with this because you know that everything about a mutual fund is taxable, even if they reinvest. If the individual chooses to sell the shares purchased through these reinvestments, the cost basis will be, great question. You buy and you pay CGB taxes on it to the purchase price of these shares. I would think it's going to be, less any sales charge. That's interesting, but there shouldn't be any sales charges. Boom. I think it's going to be purchase price. Let's see if they're tricking me. Boom. So remember, since you're paying taxes on it and you buy more, then it does increase your cost basis. Good. I can't believe I'm doing more. As a customer's tax bracket increases, an RR as the guy gets richer, an RR is likely to allocate more of the customer's portfolio to tax-exempt funds because more money, more taxes, we want less. Okay. A registered rep enters an order for a client. In error, the registered rep purchases the shares of the wrong security. That's our problem. Which of the following statement is true? The shares must be placed in the RR's error account. Well, RRs don't have errors account. Broker-dealers do. Okay. The firm is required to report the error to the market in which the order is executed. We'll come back to that. The RR must contact the client. Can't say the original transaction. No, the client wants his shit, so you got to buy the right stuff. The shares must be placed in the broker-dealer's error account and deal with it. And you have to handle it, get out of it, and then give the customer what they were entitled to. A U.S. importer needs to purchase British pounds to pay for a shipment of goods. The exchange of U.S. dollars and British pounds would occur. Okay, so here's the thing. It's not options. Options will be on the Philadelphia Stock Exchange. This should be in the interbank market because you're actually buying currency or selling currency. That's where that shit trades. Okay. A client buys 100 shares of XYZ at 27 and writes a 30 call at 3. The XYZ Corporation 30 call option will expire on, see, sometimes you got to read the answers, right? October 30 call, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, whenever. It's going to be the 3rd Friday of October at 11:59. Here we go. Which of the following statements is false regarding a broker-dealer acting as a market maker in a stock? Which of the following statements is false regarding a broker-dealer acting as a market maker in a stock? Okay. So if they're a market maker, what's not true? It trades. See, I'm definitely slowing down. It trades for its own account when buying and selling securities. That's a true statement. When making a market, it's a principal, yes. If it makes money by charging commissions, okay, we'll come back to it. It must be prepared to honor the prices it quotes unless it clearly qualifies them. That's true. So we're going to say D is the answer. You don't charge commission, you charge markups. Oh, wait, I almost pressed it wrong. You charge markups and markdowns when you're a market maker. Boom. Okay. 2 individuals hold 100,000 in assets. All you guys who left after 50 questions, look at me, I'm rocking. 2 individuals hold 100 grand in assets in the JTWROS. Each party's ownership account may be described as equal and I think undivided because it's not, each person's 100% owner. I don't know how they're working it, but that would, everyone's a 100% owner of the account. And what happens, JTWROS, I die, you get the money. If it's JTAC, I die, my portion goes to my estate, my children, my beneficiaries, my heirs. Any of those words matter. All of the following information must be disclosed to a customer in a confirmation except. So we have to do agent, we have to do A, active principal or agent. We have to do the commission if it's an agent, yes. We have to do security traded, the price and number of shares, obviously. Whether it's solicited or unsolicited, that would be on the trade ticket. Good. An investor owns 100 convertible preferred stock that is convertible to 2 shares of common. Lots of convertible questions on this. The common is selling at 52, the preferred is selling at 104. If it's called at 105, what should we do? So 100, we know we're getting 2, so we don't have to do that original math. 2 times 52 is 104. So if we convert it, we get 104. If we sell it, we get 104. If we let it be called, we get 105. So we're going to allow the preferred to be called. They also call it tender to the call. And wait for more favorable call is not a choice. I read it. Shit is going nuts. Okay. A customer margin account has a market value of 15. A debit of 8. SMA of 1,000, so he's restricted because his equity is, so let's do this. At market value minus debit, my equity is 7,000. That's less than 50%, so I'm restricted, but the SMA is what it is. If I sell 1,000, remember, whenever you're restricted, half of your sale goes to the SMA. So now it was at 1,000. I added 500 because it's half of the sale. That's 1,500, baby. Don't get tricked into doing the none or the 1,000. It should be 1,500. Boom. What capacity, is reported by a member that it conducted a net basis transaction? I've never heard of a net basis principal. They could be idiots and do that, but it's a principal because it's not risk. It's not really risk as principal. Okay. It's principal because you're buying it and then selling it and you're not disclosing. Okay. Which of the following positions would be considered a covered option? Okay. So covered means I'm selling an option and then I have a stock position. Uncovered is I sell an option without a stock position. So let's do that. So short the stock, short a put, that could be a covered put. Short the stock, long a put. Well, they're both bearish. That's out. Long the stock, short a put. They're both bullish. That's out. Long the stock, long a call. They're both buy. So that's out. So it has to be short the stock, short a put. So covered calls are long stock, sell a call. Covered puts are short stock, short a put. Unlimited loss on that baby too. Okay. Should I quit now? No, I'm 21 away. ABC Growth Fund has been in existence for 6 years. An advertisement that refers to its ranking based on total return must refer to the total return. Okay. 6 years. So D is out. I'm going to screw this one up. I'm going to get this wrong. So an investment that refers to its ranking based on total return must refer to the total return for the 1 and 5 of the same ranking entity. Like, oh, interesting. So I'm going to say the same because I don't know. I'm going to get this wrong. Okay. So I guess the point here is that, let's read the answer. So if I do rankings or ratings, I have to do 1, 5, and 10 years. If I have not been in for 10 years, then I must do at least for 1 and 5. Okay. And basically, if I do the ranking, if it's a specific ranking, I have to show the rankings for the same period. I can't switch them up. Okay. The customer buys bonds with $50,000 par value at 85.5, which is 855 or something like that. The bonds are callable at 110. If the customer holds a bond to maturity, he will receive 50,000 plus the last interest payment. So it should be C, because par value is 50, you get par at maturity. So you should get 50 plus the last 6 months interest. It should be that. Good. A registered person is concerned that his boss is making inappropriate advances. Okay, that was the 90s basically. This allegation must be settled by, so the registered person. So this is the thing, it's not forced to go through arbitration. This is the one thing, and I think any civil rights violations like racial stuff, you can do through courts. The person offended can choose arbitration if they want to speed it up, but they don't have to. So that's why I'm going to say it's any method that they choose. Okay. Which of the following choices represent logical strategies for a technical? Okay. So remember, resistance on top, support on bottom. When it breaks through resistance, you buy it. When it breaks through support, you sell it because it's going low. So buy calls when through resistance, 100%. So 2 is out. So then I buy puts when it goes down. So I'm going to do 1 and 4 because if it breaks through support, I think it's bearish, which is buying puts. If it breaks through resistance, I think it's going to keep going. So I buy calls. So I'm going to go with uno and cuatro. Okay, good stuff. All the foreign government agencies involved in housing market except, well, okay, so we got this. Freddie Mac is the first. A is Freddie Mac. B is Ginnie Mae. C is Fannie Mae. Those are all housing. SBA, Small Business Administration. That's me. I'm a small business. I'm not big enough for them. Okay. A customer would like to open an individual account and would like his confirmation sent to a PO box. What information is needed to comply with the client's request? I don't fucking need anything else. I don't think so. Okay, we're opening account. That's fair. This is a tricky question because you do need you need an actual address, okay, to open an account, and then you can send shit to the pot. So I'm going to go with this, even though it could be wrong, because you may not need anything else because they're going to say, well, we assumed it's open. If you open an account, it has to have a real address to be sent to, okay? But then after that, you can send your shit to a PO box. You know, maybe you're investing and you don't want your husband or wife to know how much money you have. You hide it. Not suggesting that. Okay. LRR Corp has earned $1.10 per share in each of the last 4 quarters and has paid out 20% of its earnings in the form of cash. I don't fucking know. If the stock is selling at 40 a share, what is the price earnings ratio? Jesus Christ, how do I figure this out? Okay. So earn $1.10 a share. And he still has 4 quarters. So that's $1.10 times 4, that's $4.40. I'm going to do, the dividend part doesn't matter. See, I'm tired, so I could have done this easier. So I'm going to do market price of 48 divided by the earnings per share, which is 440. Okay, divided by 4.4 gives me 10.9. Is that an answer? Boom, that better be the right answer. I'm getting tired, so I'm definitely going to make a mistake here. Which of the following securities will provide an investor with protection against purchase of our risks? Okay, so what do? Usually it's equities. That's the best choice, but TIPS, maybe. Treasury notes, no, they have inflation risk. T-bills, they're short-term, but they don't protect against it. They just don't have it. And strips are long-term zeros, so no. So TIPS, what do TIPS stand for? Treasury Inflation Protection Securities. That's fucking it. It's got to be TIPS. Okay. A website is being designed for a registered rep of a member firm. Which of the following statements are true regarding the design? The FINRA logo must be displayed. I'm going to come back to that one. The registered representative firm must be displayed. I think that would have to be true. A reference for FINRA membership is permitted. Links to other websites are not permitted. So I'm going to go with 2 and 3. I'm going to get this wrong, but we'll go with that. Boom. So you can show a FINRA membership, but if you do, you have to show the link to the FINRA website and I think broker check now. But you can put your name on it. And remember, FINRA can't be bigger than your firm name. That's a couple things. And it's to be pre-approved by a principal, all that crap. Investors with high incomes and high net worth usually can handle more risks. So can generally tell more risks than investors with low incomes and low net worth. That is true. Sadly, it's true. B, always have high tolerance. No, they don't always. If you talk to my daughter, she's afraid of everything. Are never risk averse. That's the word never is the word never and always throw out, and always suitable. So really that makes it easy. B is always, C is never, D is always. Throw them out. Generally tolerate more risk. That's true. But it's not a rule. Okay. Moody is which is the most speculative? Moody's. So we go down, we go AAA, AA, triple B. Remember, it's really BAA and then BA. So I'm going to say BA because that's the lowest of them all. Boom. Which of the following statements is true concerning the tax treatment of a Muni bond? The Muni will not be amortized. No, all Muni premiums have to be amortized. We create on the constant yield method. We'll come back to that. The discount will be amortized. No, it's not a discount. Because that would be accreted, if anything. A bond was purchased as OID. If the bond was purchased as an OID, the discount will be accreted based on a constant yield method. Interesting. If the bond was purchased at a premium, you create a constant yield. Oh, it's not constant yield. Okay, hold on. Ooh, oh, it's not create. Duh. Bonds get duh. See what happens. B is wrong, and you probably are yelling at me because you know that if you're still here. Because you amortize the premiums, you create the discounts. I even said that before, and I didn't catch it. Has to be D. Because you can't accrete a premium and you can't amortize a discount. Awesome. It was easier than I thought. Okay. Customer sells short 1,000 at 60. Deposits reg T margin, so that's going to be 30 grand. The stock is now traded at 75. What's true? I always get this one wrong because I get the dates wrong, and I don't really care because you won't see it. So I'm going to do, will we need a maintenance cost? So I'm going to do 6. So it's 90,000 is my credit balance divided by 1.3, 69. So it went over 75. So I'm going to owe money. So my $69, and so I did to get my how high the stock can go before I hit a maintenance call. I did 90,000, which was a credit balance. Remember, I sell short $60,000 of stock. I have to deposit 30 of my own money. So there's now $90,000 sitting in my account from the 60 from the sale and 30 from my deposit. And again, watch my short margin video. Now, if on October 3rd, the stock's trading at 2075, well, it's higher than the 69. So that means we're in trouble. So I'm going to get the date wrong, but I will owe a maintenance call. So it's either going to be the 24th or the 23rd. So we know it's, so I'm just going to make a guess. I don't know which one it is. I don't really care because they'll never do this date thing. So let's say on the 23rd. So we'll say it'll be adjusted on the 24th just for the shits and giggles. Okay. So it's going to be the 23rd because they do it the day of, I guess. I'll never see a question. The more important thing is that a maintenance call has to be done. There's my 1 wrong or 2 wrong. Okay. Which of the following statements is not true concerning a structured product offered by an RR? The principal that the investor would receive may be based on the value of the stock traded on an exchange. They're usually registered with the SEC. The principal the investor received may be based on the value of a foreign currency. Since this product is sold by a bank, I don't think that's true because it's not FDIC insured. I can be wrong. Boom. Because they're not sold by they're sold by bank. They may be sold by banks, but they're securities, so they're not FDIC insured. And Muni Securities, we're slowing down. And Muni Securities broker-dealer has a control relationship with an issuer. When selling the bonds, subject to the control relation, the broker-dealer must disclose its relationship to customers prior to the trade, in writing or prior to settlement, 1, 2. If 1, 2, and 3 is a choice. If 1, 2, and 4 is a choice, I'm going to go with that. It's not only discretionary accounts. I got to freaking tell them all the time. And if I'm wrong, I'll be pissed. Okay? So it's not just discretionary accounts. If you have a control relationship, you got to let them know ahead of time, and you got to tell them prior to settlement and in writing. Okay. If a company pays a cash dividend, when they pay the dividend, please don't bark, dog. Shareholders' equity decreases. We'll come back to that. It doesn't decrease. It says the same. Current assets decrease. That's true. Current assets don't go up. Shareholders' equity increases. No. So when they pay the dividend, the assets and the liabilities go down by the same amount so that the equity doesn't change. So it's got to be the assets change because you're paying out cash. You don't have cash. All the following statements are true concerning private activity bonds, except the possibility that the bonds might be subject to taxation reflected in the yield. That's true. If it's taxable, the yield is going to be there. These types of bonds are GOs. We'll come back to that. Interest on these bonds might not be tax exempt. Yes, private activities might be subject to AMT. Interest on the bonds might be subject to AMT. That's true too. So the answer is going to be they're not GOs. Private activity are never GOs, they're always revenues. I just wanted to go through the whole thing. Should I stop now? The penny stock rules apply under which of the following circumstances? Well, if it's on the NASDAQ, no. The transaction is not recommended, no. If they call you unsolicited, it's out. It's an active trader. So I'm going to say if it's quoted on the bulletin board, it's going to be the answer. Okay. So penny stocks are under 5 and not on an exchange. And unsolicited, they call you that you don't have as much responsibility. A broker-dealer acting for a customer purchases stock from a market maker at 25 and sells it at 25 plus a commission. Broker-dealer acting for a customer purchases stock from a market maker. Broker-dealer acting for a customer purchases stock from a market maker at 25 and sells to the customer at 25 plus commission. The broker-dealer. Yeah, may not. I mean, must disclose the amount of markup charge to the customer. I don't like this question. Ooh, he hasn't violated. Unless there's some weird question. Got to disclose the commission. I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's a weird question, okay? Okay, Muni notes are used for interim financing. That's what they're for short term, baby. Call premium, best surprise so call premium is when the issuer buys back the bonds above par. So it's not what the investor pays above par. Everyone gets it. It's what the issuer pays above 100 to retire the bonds, okay? And it's not about sold. It's not about investor. It's not about maturity. It's about call premium is the amount of, so if they call the bond at 103, it's $3 of call premium. Good. An investor purchases a British pound at 160. God, I hate that. And the British pound is at 157. The intrinsic value should be 3. So a 60 put, so on a 60 put, 160 put, anything below it is intrinsic, and on a call, anything above it is intrinsic. So anything, so it's you buy a 160 put at 4, premium doesn't matter. The pound's trading at 157, so it's 3 points in the money. That's going to be, let's see how we did. I probably failed. Okay, hold on. Let's finish this fucker up. Not bad. How many? I got 4 wrong. I'm so unhappy. And we know which 4 we were. There we are. And look at that. It tells you which ones you have wrong. You can check the missed ones. You can check all correct, which I love to do. Look at that. It's so clean. Okay. So again, that's why I like STC. Yes, Kaplan has more questions and you can adjust it more. But I do think that STC is a little bit better. And if you're this far, might as well just buy the stuff. I'm not selling it to you. If you don't do it, I'm still Still join my lives on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I'm just trying to help you out. I'm going to publish this on a Sunday, I think. Okay. Thanks a lot for listening in. Please wash your hands, be good. And if you like what I did, please like, subscribe, send this to people, send this out. And if you really like what I did, join the live and feel free to do a little super chat, but it doesn't matter. Feel free to go hit my links. If you're bored and you want some books to read, my details have that. Again, like and subscribe, and have a good night, y'all.